What's going on, people? Welcome to the United Stand. Welcome to your Saturday dose of Manchester United news, your latest Manchester United transfer news. So much to get through today. We've got a lot going on the show today. So we've got to get straight into it. There's going to be updates on Varane. There's going to be updates on Declan Rice. There's going to be updates on Lucas Vazquez. We're going to talk a little bit about Paul Pogba and the situation going on there with the war of words with Mourinho. Talk about Oli and that. And also some positive comments from Paul Pogba with Bruno as well. So I want to talk about that. So a lot to get into. We're looking great. We're sounding great. It's Saturday morning. The sun's out of my window. I don't know where you're watching from, actually, but hopefully the sun's coming out of your window as well. But let us know how you're feeling and where you're watching from. Get all your comments in as well, and I'll get those read out. Big Up Flex says CY23. Adil says it's FlexBridge, a hybrid between both of us. And RTV Clan says flex with the love emoji. So that's good. I feel good. The love is there in the room. We have started on a positive note. Raphael Varane. Now, this is reports coming out late last night, early this morning. And these are the quotes. We'll go for it. There are ongoing talks. And this is reported from Constantine Eckner, right? And he's a freelance journalist working at the BBC and the Times, etc., etc. There are ongoing talks for a transfer of Raphael Varane to Manchester United. Once United realised that a move could be possible, he became their number one centre-back target. Manchester United will face competition, and this is from Christian Falk, a good friend of the channel, always comes on. He's coming on the end of the season as well. Christian Falk basically went on to say Manchester United will face competition from Chelsea for Real Madrid centre-back Raphael Varane. So they're going to be in the market for it, for Varane as well. And there's a growing thing that Manchester United, that he won't sign a new contract at Real Madrid. Yeah, I think that is pretty much out there. This is massive. And I know we've been talking about it a little bit, but it feels like it's gathering pace. It's gathering pace. And I said, you know, with the interview we done with Pearl Carlson, who was fantastic as well, Norwegian journalist from TV2, he was in big admiration for Varane as well. And I know a lot of you guys are. And I'm saying Varane is a world-class centre-back. He's been there. He's done it. He's won everything there is to win, almost just the European Championship is probably the only thing that's missing. He's won everything at club level at Real Madrid. He's been there for 10 years. And he's the perfect age and he's got the perfect experience and attributes. Him next to Harry Maguire, I think would instantly level us up. I mean, instantly level us up. And that is a massive for us. I think we've got to do everything we can to get this deal. The fact that I remember when we were going to get him for, what was it, about 100 million, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago now. I say we were going to get him. We were looking to try. You know, we were never going to get him because it's Man United. And when we go in for big players like that, we don't normally go and get it done. But that was a big thing. And I remember even thinking then that that's massive. That's absolutely huge, trying to get him. And you look at where he is now. He wants a new challenge. He's been there 10 years. He's won. Look, the guy's got 3 back-to-back Champions Leagues under Zinedine Zidane. He's got a World Cup. He's got titles over there. He's got Copa del Rey's. He's got everything. And the type of person I want, the type of player that I want for Harry Maguire next, for me, they need to be experienced. They need to be experienced. You know, Mark spoke about yesterday in one of his shows about Fofana being, you know, us being linked to him. I do like Fofana as a player. I think Leicester have done really well to get him for 30 million. Again, credit to them. They were charging us 80 million. 80 million. Now, people might say, you're gonna spend 60 million on Varane when you could spend another 20 million and get Fofana, who's only, 19, 20. But I'm looking for the here and now. We need experience. Oli has brought the average age of this squad right down. He's done a great job at that. And that is brilliant to see. But you can't afford to get this wrong. And a player of that caliber, of that stature, with that much of experience, it'll be criminal not to get him. Absolutely criminal not to get him, in my opinion. True, Manchester United have a competitor in the transfer poker for Raphael Varane. Thomas Tuchel is also interested in the player at Real Madrid for a transfer to Chelsea, says Christian Falk. There you go. So that's going to be interesting because Chelsea are going to need a centre-half. You're right. You know, they've got Thiago Silva, who's, you know, he's old now. They only give him a 1-year deal. They probably do want to keep him. Christensen, who they've been playing a lot, he's probably not at the level. Zuma is okay. I'm not trying to make this the Chelsea show, but we have to talk about it because it's equal competition. They need a top class centre half as well. And Thomas Tuchel, would that be a more attractive proposition for Varane? You know, Oli, who, you know, hasn't won anything yet, and there's a build in progress at Man United. Man United, biggest club in the world, etc. Huge wages we can give him. Chelsea can give him huge wages. Pay the fee. Chelsea can pay the fee. Versus him going into Chelsea, that's a bit more. Would I say they're ready-made? under the guidance of Tuchel, some may argue that they've got better tools to kick on higher than us next season, depending on how we invest. So that's an interesting tussle for Varane's signature. Mialo, thanks for the super chat. Mialo says, I've heard that United were linked with Milinkovic from Fiorentina for 38 odd million. Is this legit? Listen, all we're going to do is discuss the stories that are out there. Mialo, we're not going to spread fake news. We're not going to say things are definite or not definite. What I can confirm, because I've covered shows on it and seen the same things that you've seen, which is that we are interested in Milinkovic. That story has come out a lot, you know, but what we don't do here on United Stand is say 100% somebody told me in the club that this is happening. And we're not going to lie. We're only going to talk about the news stories that are out there and discuss them as a fan base and all come together and put our opinion. So yeah, I have seen that. I have seen that a lot. And for me, I don't know loads about him. He's obviously a cheaper option, but for me, back to the Varane situation, we have to get him. We have to go for him. And this is why, if we put all our eggs into one basket and say, try and get a Harry Kane or try and get a Haaland, or a striker that's going to cost loads of money because we have to replace Cavani, which I'll get to later on in the show, it's going to take away from the amount of money that we need to spend in central midfield and centre back, you know. And Varane, I don't think they come much better than Varane in terms of tried, tested. Yes, you're always going to have the question mark of what is it going to be like when you come to the Premier League. It's different. It is, but you look at his skill set, and a lot of people, you know what, as well is funny about a lot of fans. Like, are we really doing this? Like, when I think he got his ass handed to him last year in the Champions League when City put them out. Yeah, I remember watching that and I remember thinking, rah, Varane, he got sent to the shops, mate. Like, he had a stinker. But it's like, all of a sudden, he's a shit player. Like, all of a sudden, I saw some people on social media saying, Flex, but you know, he played shit with Sterling sat him down last year against Real Madrid, against Man City. So, like, good players, when you play against other good players, someone's got to lose that battle. It isn't always going to be the defender. You know, defenders play against high quality opposition. Just because you got skinned once doesn't mean you're shit. The same happened with Koulibaly. I mean, Koulibaly played against Arsenal and Arsenal done them over and Koulibaly had a shit game. And then everyone was like, Koulibaly's shit. Like, on that logic, look at some of our players. Look at some of the stinkers that Paul Pogba's dropped. Look at some of the stinkers that Bruno Fernandes has dropped sometimes. I know that he's obviously kept his levels high, but I'm just saying, if you base it off one game, look at some of the stinkers Marcus Rashford has had. Look at how inconsistent Tony Martial's been. And some people say, okay, leave. But you can't, my point is, you can't just say, oh, because he had a shit game against one team, that means you shouldn't buy him. You have to look at the longevity since he's been there and the level he's been playing at. And Upamecano, Mohamed says it there in the free seats. Upamecano is another one. He had a poor game against, was it PSG in the final, or the semi-final? Sorry, and the semi-final. They played Bayern in the final, lost, but it was in the semi-final. But he played well. This is how quickly it changes. Upamecano had a stormer against Atletico Madrid last season. Yeah. In the I don't know why I'm pointing so like at the camera. Why am I doing that? Like why am I going like that? Because I'm on a close up and I'm doing that with my hand right there. I tell you what, I know I'm zoomed out. I tell you what, I love it if we beat that. Why am I doing that? I'm doing a lot of nuts things this morning, but I'm enjoying it. It doesn't matter. This is how I do. This is what I do. I talk with my hands. Anyway, back to the point. Upamecano had a stormer against Atletico Madrid in the quarterfinal. Then he went into the semi-final and dropped a stinker against PSG. All of a sudden, Upamecano shit. Just like that. This is why we shouldn't get him. I saw us as fans on Twitter while it was happening saying maybe we shouldn't go for him. This is why he's crap. We're so reactionary as fans, and you can't do that. Mike Thomas, big up for the super chat. Mike Thomas says, Flex, if City win the treble, will it be a blessing or a horrible reminder when we play them? Okay, both the Community Shield and UEFA Super Cup. Mate, if they win the quadruple, it doesn't. We're Man United, isn't it? So it doesn't scrub out our treble. But in reality, like Jordy's saying, they can win the sextuple if they win the Community Shield and the Super Cup. It would be against us as well if we win it. It's a very nuts situation. Like the way we bring the treble, and I'm going a bit off topic here, but it's important. The way we bring the treble to any argument to solidify why we are one of the greatest teams and clubs ever, right, is almost going to be null and void if they win 6 trophies in the season with all the best trophies. It's going to be very uncomfortable. So Mike, you're right. You're right. I don't think it'll be a blessing though. It's not a blessing. It's definitely a curse. It wouldn't be nice. But you're right though. It is a reminder of how far we've fallen, how quick we need to get our asses into gear. But I'm not trying to see that. The quadruple doesn't exist. The League Cup is hardly a trophy, says Adri. Listen, you can say that, Adri, but it does exist. It is a trophy. And if you win that along the other big trophies, i.e. the FA Cup, the League and the Champions League, and you just happen to add a League Cup into that, you've won everything there is to win at club level. And then you've got to wait till next season to win the Community Shield and the Super Cup and the World Club Cup, which again would be the following season though. But if you win the League Cup, the Champions League, the League and the FA Cup, they're the 4 trophies on offer to the top 6, to the top 4 clubs. I hate City, but you can't get better than that. You can't just say that doesn't exist, bro. You can't do that. But anyway, back to Raphael Varane. We have got to get him. I like the fact that it's starting to build momentum. I do like that. But on the flip side, we know what happens at Man United. We'll probably monitor the situation the whole time that he doesn't sign a deal, right up until the end of the season. Even imagine if Real Madrid go on to win the Champions League again and he literally bows out on that high. We'll get another notch under his belt, which is even more reason why to go and get it. Why we have to go and get him. And we'll monitor the situation, and it'll probably end up at, I don't know, PSG or something stupid like that. That will be really annoying. And also, you think of Varane coming into this club. What would Pogba think of that? What would Pogba think of is his compatriot coming over to the club at centre half, you know? And then I know the jury's out on Martial, but then you're looking at like quite a crazy link up there. Martial, Varane, and Pogba in a spine. That's fantastic. Do you know what I'm saying? Add a defensive midfielder into that. That's huge. Now, I know there's like I said, there's loads of question marks about Martial. I don't want to get into that now. I'm just saying hypothetically, that's a real strength, like a core strength of French players there. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially in Pogba and Varane, who have been at the top of their game at international level for sure. So would that make Paul Pogba think, wow, you know what? Man United are really serious about this. Man United are really serious about getting some players through the door and saying, you know, they want to kick on to the next level. And if Paul Pogba stays and we manage to get Varane, we will be 100% a better team. I don't see how we wouldn't. You know what I mean? Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. We've got nearly we've got over 3.5K watching. Let's see if we can get up to 4K while we're live. That will be good. Oliver in the free seat says, sell De Gea. Kante and Zuma at Chelsea, though. Yeah, they are. But like I said, to get Varane, Tuchel, however you say his name, he would want him. He would want him. I think that's a valid battle that we might see there. And Christian Falk is very well connected. So if he says that they're in for it, I'm not saying it's gospel, but there's a good chance that's true. We've still got a lot more to get through now. Declan Rice, MEN, Manchester Evening News are saying, Manchester Evening News, as you can see the quote to the right of me, are saying West Ham's Declan Rice is a candidate to be drafted into the club. As Manchester Evening News understand that the 22-year-old is interested in a move to Old Trafford, having sounded out his England colleagues during the recent international break. What's weird about this one is that they're adding in the bit that when he was last on in England duty, it was almost like he was going around the dressing room saying to like Harry Maguire, Jesse Lingard's already there. That's fine. He does it at West Ham. Luke Shaw probably. Rashford went down to just chill with the boys, so he probably spoke with him in the hotel, saying, "What's it like? What's it like at United?" It's like they've received information that they would do this. Another quote to the right of me is saying that will provide United with encouragement to pursue a deal with Solskjaer's side, tracking Rice for almost 2 years in their hunt to land a defensive midfielder. Though there is belief he can be a box-to-box player in the future. So. Also, we're learning more about this. It's not like just Declan Rice has started playing good this season and all of a sudden we like him. They're saying that we've been pursuing him for the last 2 seasons. Now, I don't think this has really started to gather momentum until Jesse went there, because it gives us bargaining chip. Because really, until Jesse went there and until Frank Lampard left Chelsea, because it looked almost nailed on that was going to be a natural succession for Declan Rice to go to Chelsea. It works with them. He's a Chelsea. He's a Chelsea. I don't want to lie. I don't know if he's a Chelsea fan, but his best friend is Mason Mount, who is Chelsea through and through. You could see them wanting to play together. West Ham's Declan Rice is a candidate to be drafted into the club, and understand the 22-year-old. Oh, I've read that one already. Sorry, it's just back on there. I thought it was a new quote. I thought it was something new. So that's fine. That's fine. So yeah, I like Declan Rice. I think what he's done well is he's proved that when he was starting to play well a couple of seasons ago, that it weren't just luck. Do you get what I'm saying with that? Like, he proved like it wasn't just a one season wonder. I like his steady organic growth. Like, you think of it of like, say you're growing, you're following on social media, and you went on Love Island and then you got massively famous straight away and you couldn't maintain them levels, versus slow organic growth where you just keep building in the background, go about your business quietly, and then the respect comes your way. I think that's the route that Declan Rice has gone down. I think he's season on season been getting better. Season on season, West Ham have got better with that, which helps. And season on season, he's improved as an individual and improved his game. And on top of that, he's proved that at international level as well. He looks refreshing in the England side. He looks good in the England side. Would he be good in the Manchester United side? I think he would, definitely. I think Pogba and Declan Rice is good. You know, the jury is out there, and the situation remains to be seen of where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to play Paul Pogba in the long term, or if even indeed Paul Pogba even stays. But if you're asking me if a midfield of Rice and Pogba looks good on paper, I'm saying yes. Bissouma over Rice, says Gliss Warrior, 100% entitled to that opinion. Bissouma is good as well. Morning Flex and everyone else, says JB. And thanks for the contribution here from Dan Stepp. He says, big up yourself, Flex, bro. Big up to you as well, Dan. I'm good on this Saturday morning. But if you're just joining us, we've basically touched on Rafael Varane. Manchester United are, talking to his representatives or trying to make a deal happen for 60 million euros or 60 million pounds. And we're on to the second topic now, which is Declan Rice. I like the fact that Man United have been looking at him for 2 years, but also I'm not going to let it get in the way of me saying, well, it's a fact. Like, you know what I mean? Or that means we're going to get him. Because we know we've been monitoring loads of targets for ages. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get them. But it's a positive story. I like the sound of the story. I like the look of the situation. Because really, even if you think about it, even if we don't get Rice, we're still in a good position. Because why? It sounds harsh, but because Jesse's there. And Jesse's gone there and is smashing it. We're in a positive position. Jesse playing this well is only a positive for Man United. One, because it drives his price up so we can get decent money for him. I think with how good... Do you know that no player since... Harry Kane might have just broke that, actually, because he scored 2 goals yesterday. But as of the last time Jesse scored, because he's got 8 goals, no player scored more than him since he went there. That's mad. Jesse's doing that, like, proper Jesse thing. He gets that purple patch where he's confident, he's thriving, he's the main man. Everything he hits just turns to gold. Like, Jesse's doing a madness right now. And if he continues that to the end of the season and does the unthinkable as well, West Ham get Champions League, forget us buying Declan Rice and using that as a bargaining chip. I think we could ask for like 40 million for Jesse. I really do. If they get that return on him, because that means he would have scored double figures goals. I'm just presuming he's got 8 now. It's not inconceivable to think he'll score another couple before the season's out, right? So let's just say he gets double figures from January to May, which is a brilliant return. He helped get them into the Champions League, so they got more money. And he was only a loan. So therefore, that little 25 million we used to put on Jesse's head before he went there, to me, you got to pay some tax on that, David Moyes and Gold and whoever runs at West Ham, the owners. You got to pay some Jesse Lingard tax. You need to be giving me 40 M's because we need the money. So and then it brings in either whether you're going to use that 40 million to try and get Declan Rice out of there and say, we'll give you 40 million plus Jesse, which is, okay, let's say that's 80 million pounds. Or, okay, I say 30, Flex says Praise C, even if it's 30 million, then do you say, right, we'll give you Jesse Lingard and 30 million, 60 million for Declan Rice? Probably that'll be a bit too low. I don't think they're going to sell him for anything less than 80. So we'll see how it goes. But what I'm saying is we're in a very good position with that. We've got 4,000 people watching live as well. That is amazing. Keep smashing like on a video, keep subscribing, and keep sharing as well. Let's keep pushing it up, guys. Let's see if we can get a little record on for me in the morning, which is great. Good stuff in the morning show. Scott Powell, thanks for the contribution. Scott says, hey, Flex, is Rice and Varane a good summer window? If we retain Edison and Pogba, I'd be happy with that. You know what, Scott? Before we go on to the next topic, I 100% agree with you. If we do keep Cavani and keep Pogba, Rice and Varane would be a very good summer, I think. And I'm going to get to Cavani as the next topic. And we're also going to talk about Lucas Vazquez as well. Straight News got some reports on him and Paul Pogba, Jose Mourinho. Okay. But that's fine. We could talk about Pogba next as well. We'll talk about that. But on what you said there, Scott Power, I 100% agree. I do 100% agree, because if you think about it, Paul Pogba leaving this football club is a big issue. We'll talk about Paul Pogba now because it actually goes into it. So yeah, to answer your question, Scott Power, I do agree. If you get Rice and Varane, hold on to Cavani and Pogba, I'd definitely be happy with that. And let's talk about Paul Pogba. He had a lot of quotes. He had a lot of quotes. I really enjoyed it. And let's start with some of them. This isn't the Mourinho stuff, but this is the Bruno stuff. And this is really interesting. I enjoy playing with Bruno. He's someone who understands the game. Do you know what? You can look at things flippantly and at superficial value, or when you kind of follow football on a deeper level, you can read between the lines of things. And when you understand big man players, like people who know ball, who can play ball, like intelligent players like Bruno, like Pogba, like Adoni, intelligent footballers, yeah, you have to read between the lines of what they're actually saying. He's someone who understands the game, yeah. And I'm not saying he's digging out. I'm not like the biggest thing to think about it would be going, oh, he's digging out Dan James with no football. Like, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that's a big compliment to say he understands the game and understands the movement that can give you a beautiful pass. Look at the language he's using. Like these are football purist players with high level of intelligence, players of high level of understanding of the game. And that's reflected of when the two play together. The same if you want to bring Cavani into this situation. When Pogba links up with these types of players, we see beautiful football. We see beautiful passes. That's what he's saying. He can finish too. He's all over the place. He can do everything really except defending with an exclamation mark. A little bit of a flippant comment there, basically saying he's probably shitting the tackle like Paul Scholes. But he's everywhere. That is a massive appreciation. And this is what I'm talking about, which leads back to the Varane situation, is if Paul Pogba can see a high caliber of player coming into the team and making the team a better functioning team, a better footballing team, and in turn improving his own performances, which in turn makes him happier, which in turn makes him want to stay, which in turn makes Manchester United more successful because we're challenging for top honours. There's a lot of interns there. Then it means that it's positive for Man United, isn't it? It's fact. And the way he's talking about Bruno, there's no doubt in my mind that he enjoys playing with him. He's saying it. And you can see it on the pitch. I'm watching from Thailand. Sun always shining, says Paquette. Love that. Except defending, Rohit laughs as well. Yeah, he had to get the little dig in there. And that guy Vic says, United need Paul Pogba. And we do need Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba leaving this football club is a big thing. There's another quote from Paul Pogba as well. That basically says, but really, it's always a joy to play with him, to understand him. He understands me as well. He can take my position. I can take his position as well. I think this suits the team. He's a very dominant influence in our team. So, leave no stone unturned, Paul Pogba, if we didn't know how you felt about Bruno Fernandes. At least it's players like Bruno make Pogba think twice. That's how you got to look into this. No disrespect. This is no disrespect. If we would have still had Andreas Pereira playing in that situation, you ever notice that when someone says no disrespect, it always means that they are being disrespectful? Like that always happens. Anytime you say no disrespect, but you're being disrespectful. Like I'm being disrespectful to Andreas Pereira, to be honest. I can't see any super chats here. Here it is on here. Here we go. Christopher Christian Lynn says, would Ollie play Rice with McFred if Pogba goes? Oh, Christian, why did you have to bring, a very foreseeable situation? Because that, again, this is why I say if Paul Pogba leaves the football club, we got a big problem if we think that we can replace Declan Rice with Paul Pogba and spend the money that Paul Pogba gets us on a defensive midfielder, and that's fine. We need, I've said this on near enough every single show. We need, Suzanne said you're trying to cover your own back. I probably am. We need a defensive midfielder alongside Paul Pogba in an ideal world. I know that Ollie doesn't really like to play him there, but we'll soon see if that changes if we get a top-notch defensive midfielder. But if Paul Pogba leaves, I know Jordy really likes Bissouma. A lot of people really like Bissouma, and he is good. And I would be happy if we got him. We could probably get him for about 40 million as well. I definitely would have him. But since we're on the topic of Rice, because you lot are asking, if we did get Rice, it can't be in place of Paul Pogba, in my opinion. It can't. We can't afford for that to happen, because then we're left of the situation of where's the creativity coming? Where? If that happens, we're in trouble. And that's what worries me about it. That's what really worries me. But basically, back to what I was saying, though, when I was basically disrespecting Andreas Pereira. If Andreas Pereira was playing in that side, like when he was, and we would have carried on with that before Bruno got here, that's not going to inspire Paul Pogba. And I know it's not all about Paul Pogba, because it's the same for Bruno. Bruno looks at it and sees players like Paul Pogba, sees players like Rashford, sees players like Shaw doing his thing, sees players like Mason Greenwood coming through, linking up with Cavani. It goes for every player. Cavani sees that he's playing with Pogba, Bruno, Rashford, Martial, whoever it is. You know, you don't know disrespect again, but disrespect meant if he's playing with Dan James all the time and Andreas Pereira all the time, and to a certain extent, an out of form Jesse Lingard. And I put out of form in quotation marks, because he's now in form, and we know what he's like when he's in form. He's very good. That's not going to fill them. And say Phil Jones was still playing, and Chris Smalling, and Ashley Young, and Fellaini. If they came into this squad, it's not going to inspire them to say that this club is going in the right direction. So back to what I was saying about Pogba bigging up Bruno, it's a massive situation, because the fact that he's doing that is him saying, I like it here. It's him saying that there's players of my caliber here. There's players that I can work with here. And that is massively important if the football club wants to move forward. Islo FCOK, I can't really say that name, says, Rice would be great, but the price has to be right. 100%. 100%. We can't go and spend all of our transfer. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. So good thing I didn't read it out. Good there. You nearly done me. But you make a good point, though. That name that I don't want to say, because I don't want to get done at 10:30 in the morning. Rice would be a good price, but the price has to be. I'm a bit slow with that. I'd rather be slow than get done. I'd rather go. It's slow. FCOK. Don't know. Then read it out and get done. So yeah, I'll quite happily read things slowly and take my time and don't rush and don't get done. How about that? But they make a good point. Although they tried to catch me out, the price has got to be right. If they don't accept that for Jesse and say, no, you just have to pay 80 million, we'll give you a transfer fee, and say, well, we will pay you 30 million, and say you have to pay, say, 50 million for Jesse for Declan Rice, because we're going to take him for 30. That's a lot of our money gone. So you're right. The price has to be right. The price has to be right. I'm going to move on to Edinson Cavani now. And you know what? There's a lot going on with Edinson Cavani, and this is the latest on it. And this is from Marca and a huge Argentine outlet out there in South America, TY Sports. And what TY Sports are saying are Manchester United this is Marca saying, sorry, Manchester United are offering Cavani a 1-year renewal, which we already know. His response was supposed to be delivered before the start of April, but due to his request to postpone it, the club shall now wait until the 15th of May. I said this before about Edinson Cavani. I don't mind that we're trying to keep him. I think it is a bit of a risk considering his injury situation, and hopefully that can be better next season. I was in the camp. Like I said, I'm not afraid to go back on what I said and put my hands up and say maybe I was a little bit too hasty. We've got to look at the positives, because you know his injury, since he's come back from injury, he's been good, but it's only been 2 games. It's only been 2 games, and when I look at, though, if he does stay, it means that we don't have to spend money in that area this year, which means we can focus on other areas. Then let football come back, let fans come back, let the market stabilize again and the football economy rise again, and then look at it after that. I was just annoyed because we're always having to do a stopgap, but maybe I need to go, the practicality of keeping him does work, but I'm just still not. I think we'll be back there again with injuries, and that worries me. Boca Juniors are waiting for Edinson Cavani's official response to their offer. The talks with him continue as the club president, Roman Riquelme, what a player he was, by the way, Argentine central midfielder, has a direct line with the player. So they're in conversation. However, it shall be a family decision for Cavani. And that's from TY Sports. They're a huge TV channel out there in Argentina. And that's where I don't really have a problem with this, though. A lot of us forget that footballers are human beings. A lot of us forget that they've got families. Our number one priority as fans is Man United. It isn't always the player. And sometimes we do have to think about the player. And that's why I'm not mad at Cavani in this situation. I think he should do what's best for his family. I think he should do what's best for him. And if he thinks and if he thinks he's going to stay and be unhappy, he should absolutely leave. You know, he shouldn't stay for the wrong reasons. It's not going to be motivated by money, which I like. He's got enough money. He's coming to the end of his career. He can be back home chilling, literally chilling. Well, I say back home in his native South America, at least. He won't be back in Uruguay, but he'll be in South America. And he'll be a god there. You know, he'll be living the life of Riley. He'll be around his family. He'll be speaking his language. He won't have to worry about a social media tweet going out and being misconstrued in the press because of, you know, cultural differences. He can go back and be himself. And I don't have a problem with that. Conversely, I've got to think about Man United, though. And what's best for Man United is, I don't know. What's best for Man United, really, is going to get a long-term solution. What's best for Man United is to go and get Haaland, go and get Kane, but it's not realistic right now. We can't afford it. So if I take my feelings out of it and look at what's best in the context of the situation we're in, i.e. COVID, i.e. only having 100 million to spend, and we really need a centre mid and really need a centre back. And if we have to add a striker into that to spend more money, it's got to take away from one of them areas. I can probably admit now that it probably is best that Cavani stays and take the gamble on that fitness. And then say, right, you got Mason and you got Martial. They can play whenever Cavani can't play. Someone just said loan Greenwood. No, I wouldn't loan Greenwood. No chance. Says Halulia Dayan in the comments. I definitely wouldn't loan Mason Greenwood. I think he's doing fine. Scott Powell back with another super chat says, I hope we don't go near Kane. If we are worried about Edinson, then imagine throwing 150 million at Spurs to see Harry Kane break down within 12 months. I did speak about this situation with Harry Kane and him always getting injured. And my defense of Harry Kane was this: where you are right, Scott Power, and a lot of people are right who say that Harry Kane is injury prone. He has this ankle problem all the time. And you look at yesterday's injury to him, where I think it's Richarlison fell on his foot and he rolled his ankle. That was just unlucky. That wasn't like, oh, you just got weak ankles, mate. Like, that could put anyone out if you roll your ankle like that, quick, that can hurt. But what I'm saying is, with Kane, it doesn't stop his scoring record. Like I said about his injury record versus his goal scoring record. Now, I know the easy argument is, yeah, but Flexi could get even more than that. Yeah, okay, if he doesn't miss 8 to 10 games a season, of course it's going to be more than that. But the guy still gets 30 goals pretty much in all competitions, almost every year. And that's with being out. So it's still a good investment, I think. I don't think it's to the level that Harry Kane's going to be a write-off and, you know, miss the whole season. He doesn't miss months and months and months. He misses weeks and still has a very high scoring record because he's that good. In, let's face it, a bang average Spurs side, a shit Spurs side. I'm still laughing at them from the week before. I'm still happy. You know, a Jose Mourinho Spurs at that. I see Jose Mourinho. I see Spurs fans now saying this is the worst. This is the worst they've seen them. You know, that's how bad it is. Scott Powell says solid point, Flex, with a thumbs up. I appreciate it's all about opinion. I'm not saying you've got to agree with me, but big up. I appreciate that because I take your points as well. And what someone else said, it is a bit of a gamble, but I just feel like, you know, his scoring record has not been affected by the injury. If we were looking at Harry Kane, who was barely scoring 10 goals a season because he was out so much, I'll be like, yeah, that's true, man. He's too injury prone. But really, he hasn't been too injury prone to score almost 30 goals a season every year with a dodgy ankle. So why is it going to change now? Do you know what I mean? For me, so I still would get Harry Kane over Haaland, but only because Haaland is going to be a 2-year man. He's going to be a 2-year man. He's going to get bored up with us after 2 years, and then look to go to Real Madrid or PSG or whoever, you know. But that leads us back to the Cavani situation. Like I said, I can sum up. I don't have any qualms in keeping Cavani now I look at it. I'm not just basing it off the 2 games, but it has made me it's made me a little bit more susceptible to him staying, because I can see that actually, even if he's not playing, what he's teaching the likes of Mason and Martial is good. But most importantly for Man United, it allows us to be able to go and invest in other areas in a time where we, like many other clubs, don't have a massive budget. Do you know what I'm saying? Smash a like on the video, guys. We're nearly at 5. Well, we're at 4.5 watching live. If we can get to 5, that would be astonishing. That'd be great. And let's try and get to 1,000 likes while we're watching live as well, guys. There's over 4,500 of you watching, and there's not even 1,000 likes. Guys, you're watching without remembering to just click the little thumbs up thing. Just click it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that next, actually. Rishad says, hi, Flex. Which 2 centre-backs and midfielders would you sell to fund our transfer? Which 2 centre-backs? Well, Rishad, to be fair, I don't think we necessarily have to sell that many players to raise the money. But since you're asking me in a hypothetical situation, I'll give you an answer. You got to say Tuanzebe and Bailly. Yeah, you have to. You have to, because they're not going to play, are they? They're not playing for us. They're not going to get in. I know Ollie said he doesn't see there being a problem with Bailly's contract, or he doesn't see some issues. So that was interesting. That means it looked like he might stay. But I would probably say them. And midfielder, I'd probably sell Fred. As much as I do like Fred, Fred gets a lot of slander. And not Jones. Everyone's saying Jones. Yeah, I forgot about Jones. Oh my God, do you know what? No disrespect, in quotations, meaning disrespect. I don't class Phil Jones as a Man United player. And I keep going into that most, I don't mean disrespect, but I do. I don't know. He doesn't play. He doesn't train. He is Sir Philip. You know, he's won a Premier League title here. He's had his heyday when Sir Alex said he's going to be England captain. When Sir Alex said he's going to be England captain, he's had that. But if we're being real, yeah, it's like he doesn't play for us. So when someone says, we need to get the deadwood out, we need to sell this player, I'm more thinking of the players who actually got a bit of value there, who are doing something for us. You know what I mean? Tuanzebe is class. Bay is our best centre back at the club. I know, but there's sell-on value in them. We're not going to sell Harry Maguire, who's at 80 million. We're not going to sell Victor Lindelof, I don't think. He would. Okay, maybe Victor Lindelof second then. But I think that under Ollie, that's never going to happen. So I'm just trying to be realistic. Chris Pankhurst said, let's keep Cavani for one more year. Sign Varane, Sancho, and Basuma. Next season, can sign Mbappe for a fee of 100 million plus and challenge for the title. I mean, Chris Pankhurst, it is Saturday morning, and you've probably had a really good breakfast, and you're just feeling on top of the world. Or you was out in the pub because we're outside. Because that is a very wishful thinking, Chris Pankhurst. Big up yourself. Appreciate the contribution. Nikki says, if you're going to put that much of an investment into a striker, surely Mbappe is the best option on the pitch and financially. Yeah, but Nikki, you say that, and you're right in terms of the longevity of Mbappe. Look, if I had a blank canvas to choose what striker I could get at the club or what player I can go and buy, of course it would be Mbappe. Who wouldn't have Mbappe? But you got to remember, Mbappe is going to cost more than Harry Kane. You do know that, don't you? He's going to cost more than Mbappe is not going to cost 120 million, 150 million. He went there for that kind of price. Mbappe is 180 odd, yeah. Mbappe is going to be well in excess of 200 plus. Easy, which is why they wouldn't dream of selling him now, which is why we can't afford him. So I get it. So financially, you're pointing it, Nikki, where you said that makes the best option on the pitch and financially. I don't think it does, because Harry Kane, that's like saying you could guarantee a similar amount of goals as Mbappe, not get as long out of him because of the age, and maybe not get as much games out of him because of the ankle situation. You can secure that for. I'm going to say Mbappe in a normal market could go for 250 here. Let's be real. He could go for 250 million. We're talking about a player who is almost not in COVID. No, but that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't sell him in COVID. They'll keep him and wait for the market to get back. Because we're talking in Mbappe. We're not talking about a Harry Kane. We're talking about a player who's literally taking the baton from Lionel Messi and saying, I'm going to carry it for the next 10 years as the world's best player, the most generational talent out there. and Haaland is looking to be in that conversation. And then we got a lot of other young players in and around, kind of just going on to be world class. But in terms of who's going to be the best player of these kids' generation, so say you're 10 years old, you're not going to grow up on Messi. You're going to grow up on Mbappe. And when that 10-year-old is 20 and has had 10 years of Mbappe, that 20-year-old's going to say, best player I've ever seen, mate, is Mbappe. Do you know what I mean? That's how good Mbappe is. So I don't think that it makes financial sense to get Mbappe. Although it makes sense to have a player that good in your team. Of course it does. But I don't think it makes financial sense because we can't afford it. There was another super chat here that I need to make sure. Nikki back again says, well, if he signs a new contract, but he hasn't yet. Fair enough, Nikki. I take your point. He hasn't signed a new contract yet, so he hasn't got, which is why I do think, hypothetically, which is true, he will sign a new contract. His contract is running down like Pogba. So fair enough. I missed that point that he hasn't signed a new contract yet. So actually, he's not worth 250 million now. So I can take that point, and I understand that point. But his age, he's what, 24, 23 now? He's very young. He's so good. And for it to make business sense, they'll probably tie him down to a new contract. But that is a hypothetical because I don't know that. So I'll take your point, Nikki. There was another super chat that I did. He's 22. There you go. Wow. Look at that. He's 22. You know, crazy. DK says, do you want a guy scoring 30 goals in 50% of the games or a guy playing 30 goals in 100% of the games? I don't want Harry Kane, says DK. Fair enough. I hear what you're saying, but that's fine. I hear what you're saying there because you're basically saying that he's going to score the same amount of goals, but he's only playing half the time. So you'd rather have someone score the 30 goals but play all of the time because then you're likely to get more things happen. Fair enough. They could get assists more because they're on the pitch. I take your point. And look, if I had to choose, I feel like I'm being a little bit misunderstood. If I had to choose, I said this with KG when I had the chance, if you guys remember the show. If I had a chance to choose between Mbappe, Kane, and Haaland, KG went with Kane because he was saying he's most suited to Man United. We don't make a lot of chances. He can come off the front, make things happen. Some people were saying Haaland. I'm saying no because after 2 years he's going to want to leave and da-da-da-da. I'm saying Mbappe because he's the most multifunctional player. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, he can play at number 9. He gets assists, he gets goals, he can make chances for himself out of nothing. So I'm not saying that Harry Kane is better than Mbappe or we should get Harry Kane over Mbappe if we've got a clean slate to choose from with no external factors. But because of the external factors we have to deal with, and we're in COVID, I'm saying Harry Kane is the better option than all of them, in my opinion. Chris Pankhurst says Mbappe has 12 months left on his contract, and even at 160 million plus, worth investment due to age, less injury prone, and an all-round striker. I agree with that, Chris Pankhurst. I do agree with that. And another super chat before we move on to the next topics. Adrian says, good morning, Flex. I've lost the stone and feel buzzing. Love the United Stand podcast on Spotify. It helped me through. I love that, Adrian. Big up to yourself, man. Anyone out there trying to follow their goals of losing weight, it is flipping hard. I try and go on little diets to just lose a bit of the tummy, yeah. And bro, it is so difficult. So that's good, man. You lost the stone and you feel buzzing. And the United Stand podcast as well. Actually, make sure you guys check that out. United Stand podcast. We have an upload pretty much every day. Check it out and let us know what you guys want to see more of on that. It's growing and it's great. It's a great way if you're on your way to work. Everyone's coming out of lockdown now as well. So if you're in the car driving to work or you're traveling somewhere, feel free to just put it on and have a listen. It is there. Lucas Vazquez, very, very quickly want to touch on him. This is an article from Straight News, and they're basically saying that Manchester United are one of the hosts of Premier League clubs set to meet with Lucas Vazquez's entourage in the coming weeks to discuss a possible transfer. Vazquez is 29 and he's out of contract with Real Madrid, so his contract is up at the end of the year, so he could go for free. He can play right wing back or right winger. So it's more of like a competition for Wan-Bissaka. I'll be honest with you, I had no idea that Lucas Vazquez was that old. I honestly saw him as still a young player because he's been there for so long. I really thought he was a lot younger than that. It goes on to say as well, despite being with the club since he joined their illustrious youth academy back in 2007, Vazquez is edging closer to the Bernabeu exit. And that's from Straight News. Check out our full article with them if you want to see it. We need competition for Wan-Bissaka. We do know this. It's whether... I don't think the Diogo Dalot thing is going to work. I think he's playing a lot of football at AC Milan. He's still young and he wants to go and he wants to play football. He wants to play football. I don't think we bring him out and say play second fiddle to Wan-Bissaka. I would do that, but I don't think it's going to work for him. If I'm honest, I don't see it working at all. Lucas Vazquez, though, exciting player. He is a baller. I think he's good. I do think he's good. I didn't know he was that old, but on a free, I'd definitely take him. On a free transfer, I would 100% take him. Again, he's been at Real Madrid a long time. I know he hasn't always been the starting right back all the time, but he's got a lot of experience and he's won a lot of trophies. He's been there a long time. I would 100% take him. And also to finish off, I want to talk a little bit about Jose Mourinho. I have to. So smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. This is the home straight. Jose Mourinho. I would like to say, when asked with after their shit performance yesterday against Everton, where they should have lost, in my opinion, I would like to say that I could not care less what he says, which means Paul Pogba. I am not interested at all. In normal language, if you hit the translation button, triggered FC, I do care FC, I'm annoyed FC, I can't stand Man United and Paul Pogba FC. That's what he really wanted to say. How beautiful was it, guys? You know, and you know what's funny? I keep getting people. There was a Tottenham fan who tweeted me saying, I really want to know what Mourinho's done to Man United fans. Like, he won them 2 trophies. Like, why do they treat him like this? Well, mate, look at the way he's treating your club and see why. You know, and that's with winning something. You ain't even going to win anything at Tottenham. But you know, and some even Man United fans were saying, show him more respect. And I'm like, listen, the day I stopped showing Jose Mourinho respect was when he stopped showing us respect as a fan base. And not just as a fan base, but the way he treated our players. The way he treated our players. Paul Pogba was speaking about it a lot. You know, Paul Pogba's interview was brilliant. And you know what? Man United, this is what I love about it. Man United know exactly what they're doing by doing that. They know exactly what they're doing by doing that. Because you know why? You know why? They've waited a long time to do this, for one. 2, they make Paul Pogba do it because it's going to carry the most weight. And 3, they put it out just after we've beat them. Just after we've beat them. And then on top of that, there's 2 other things. Big up Woodsy as well. Laura Woods is great at what she does. Don't think that Laura Woods would have just popped them questions and Man United wouldn't have known what they're going to be. They've had to give the green light for the question to be asked. And then guess what? On top of that, they got to give the green light for the answer that Pogba's given. So it's a very calculated thing. This isn't something that just came up in an interview that, you know, just came out. If you don't understand how these interviews work, guys, there's a big process that goes in behind it. Laura would have had to send her questions. I'm guessing Karen, because she runs all the media side of stuff or the relations side of stuff, communication side of stuff, would have had to okay that. They would have had to watch that interview back. Don't ever think it would be live. They'd have to watch it back, see what they're happy with. And they've looked at that. And this is what makes it even a bigger W for Man United. They've looked at that and gone, yeah, we're happy with that. He's right. Paul Pogba's right. And we want the world to know that Mourinho is a prick. Like, that's just it. I love it. Christian says, imagine if Pochettino wins the Champions League, Spurs in the mud. I'd love it. I would love it. I really would love it. And Jack says, I think there'll be a lot of player swaps in the summer. This transfer window. Interesting point, that Jack Lynch. 100% NBA trade style. NBA trade style, because you're right. There's not going to be a lot of money about. There ain't going to be a lot of money about. I think teams are going to have to get really imaginative and creative with how they construct their deals. Or you're going to have to do player plus Ps, which isn't what happens in the NBA. It is straight trades, but you're going to have to do that. Or fling 2 players. I'll tell you what, I'll add 2 players on to amount to that money that you want. You know what I'm saying? Which does happen a lot in other sports. So yeah, I think you're right. There is going to have to be a lot of trades. But to finish off the Jose Mourinho situation, I thought it was beautiful. And then for them to go and get another crap result as well, couldn't beat Everton. And Everton should have won that game last night. They had so many chances to win. I know Harry Kane hit the post as well after that, but on the balance of play, Everton were the better side. And yeah, I just love seeing Jose in the mud. And I called it. And it's not a disrespect thing. Was I happy when he won the Europa League and the Carabao Cup? Of course I was. All our players was. Paul Pogba spoke about that. He said, I had a great relationship with Mourinho. We did as fans at that time. But just how Paul Pogba again spoke about Bruno in the truth of it, of what it is, he's speaking about Jose Mourinho in that truth. He's saying one thing is to kind of the manager doesn't pick you, i.e. talking about Oli, but one thing to just act like you don't exist. Like there's no human element to it, mate. Like he's done the same thing to Dele Alli, wouldn't even let him leave. Like this is nothing new. He's done the same thing to Eden Hazard as he fell out with him before he left. What do you call it? Chelsea. I want to say the same kind of thing happened with Ozil, did it not? When he had Lukaku at Chelsea and Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah, I think he had all of them. Same sort of thing. You can fall out of Mourinho or be out of favour, and then the relationship breaks down. Look what he done with Luke Shaw. Look at Luke Shaw now. Look what he tried to do with Martial. He tried to sell him. Now I know people might say sell Martial now anyway, but I'm just saying at the time, at a time we had Marcus Rashford, Paul Pogba, and Martial on the bench for games over like flipping who was starting at the time. It would have been people. It would have been Fellaini. It would have been Lingard. It would have been who else was up front at that time, and obviously Zlatan. And it's just weird. And then on top of that, he wanted to go and sign Willian, that guy that I always forget his name, who plays for Croatia, Perisic, and players like that. So. No, the moment, to cut a long story short, the moment when I stopped giving him respect was when he started treating the players like shit and doing the normal Mourinho thing. We're entitled as fans to do that. It was a good process at the time. We won the EFL Cup, we won the Europa League, great. But then it went to shit from there, and that's what you got to look at. And like what Ollie's been saying, we're a family. You're supposed to go into training there knowing that these are your brothers. They got your back. We're together. And Jose Mourinho doesn't create that environment for his players. Don't just ask me. Ask Chelsea fans. Ask Real Madrid fans. Ask Tottenham fans. Don't just at me. Like this has been happening. Ask Chelsea fans over 2 spells as well. And I'm not taking away from what he's done. He's won absolutely everything there is to. Well, not everything. Well, yeah, a lot. He's won. Yeah, he has pretty much won nearly everything there is to win at club level. Very decorated manager. One of the best managers of our era. But guess what? He's had his time. His time's dated now. Same thing that happened to Wenger. Now, guess what? Wenger don't coach no more. Like, you can have your time, but you can also call someone out when their time is done. Like a boxer trying to hang on. Stop hanging on. You're getting knocked out every week, mate. Quit. Put the gloves down. Go into commentary. Go and join Sky Sports and go work with Johnny Nelson. Get out. Like, you keep trying to ooze the blood out of the stone, and it ain't working. So don't at me for saying any shit, and I should show him more respect. He stopped showing us respect a long time ago and stopped showing Man United respect a long time ago. So why am I going to care? I think it's beautiful. And then some people say it's hating to see another human being fail. Look, it's in the context of football, yeah? I don't want to see him succeed at Spurs. I want Spurs to keep not winning trophies as well. It's just football rivalry, you know what I mean? Some people got to get out their feelings. Anyway, big up for watching. Smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and remember, we'll put it in a link in the video description below. The United Stand podcast. Want to start pushing that and get that as well. Murad said he's expired. Johnny Nelson FC says Joel done. But no, it's been good. It's been good. Another big weekend. Burnley on the weekend. We will be back tomorrow with the fan forum, the watch along, the match reaction. Chelsea versus Manchester City later on. Watch along on That's Football with Mark doing that as well. Jack Lynch, before I leave, has a super chat, says, why do you think Harry Kane wants to leave Spurs now? Mourinho just a bad man management skills. Just has bad management skills. 100%. I agree with you 100%, Jack Lynch. That is exactly why Harry Kane wants to leave. Plus, Spurs are shit and don't win nothing. And he, thinks I want to actually do something in my career. Anyway, thanks for saying, guys. Thanks for watching. And I'll be back very, very soon. Keep